Today, I'll be going over and rating the new characters that DC heroes and villains have added in December. They have added 5 new characters, the Atlanteans and Black Manta. Out of the 5 new water type characters, I found that there were 2 characters that look pretty decent and kind of a hidden one. Obviously, I don't own these characters, so I thought it'd be fun to kind of theory craft. But before we go into the characters, I'm going to be rating the characters on their stats, how their kit interacts with other characters in the roster, and who potentially can counter what they're trying to do. Now, for example, if we take Flash, any Justice League ally would be useful, red team, but the counter would be Starfire. Okay, well, first up we have Ocean Master, the apparent arch nemesis of Aquaman. Just another Aquaman with a mask and a shade of purple. Haven't seen that before. Just for future allies that are Atlantean, if you have 2 or more characters, when a group member performs a power move, gain a barrier on self equal to their max HP. So it's not an AoE, it's just a self barrier. But yes, Ocean Master, he's neutral. He's a neutral character. So looking at his stats, he has high defense, but his HP is pretty low. So he's prone to getting bursted down. But I guess he has some block, 30% block rate. Mitigate 50% of incoming damage is like kind of nuts. But yeah, he has crit, and his crit damage is quite high. So he really relies on probably his super doing crits. So yes, Amanda Waller is probably a really good ally for him. Its passive, immune to damage over time debuff, is nice, but I don't know if it's a game breaker. It is a debuff, but it's not like a critical debuff. At the start of each turn, Ocean Master has a 100% chance to inflict lethargy debuff on a random enemy for 5 turns. And it's 100% after getting him to level 5. At level 1, it's only 40%, which is kind of low. And if we have level 2, to start a battle for each ally, convert 1 random tile into 1 tile of that ally's color. Well, that's pretty good. It already sets him apart from a lot of characters. And then anything else is his percent chance. Looking at that at a very, very high level, the longer the battle, in theory, the higher the success rate, right? Because he's getting lethargy debuff on everybody, have a good start. That being said, though, I mean, you probably want him at level 2 at the very least. But yeah, based on his passive, we're gonna have a lot of I think the only real hard counter would be Artemis Grace, somewhere in the middle, because only when she supers she cleanses all the debuffs, right? So it's every turn, 100% chance if he is at level 5. But anyone who cleanses debuffs, probably. Technically, you can't keep that up, because if it's every turn on a random enemy, you can apply it on the same one. So that means Nightwing's kind of in here. I'd say Artemis Grace is better. Anyone who can just basically cleanse is probably here. So, in the middle, because these ones are single target. So Raven is, I'm putting Raven here because she's only good for Teen Titans with the immunity buff at the start of battle and for all Teen Titans. So she's kind of special like Teen Titans. So I think Lex would be an extremely hard counter. Now it depends on how you synergize, but each time a Legion of Doom ally is inflicted with a debuff, fill that ally's power gauge by 5%. So, if you're debuffing Lex all the time with 100%, you're giving him a free 5%. Anyone who can kind of utilize his debuffs too. So that means Cersei. Cersei would use it really well. So these two together would use the debuff and get stronger. For each buff and debuff, increases her attack and defense by 3%. It would include Bane. Where's Parasite? Anything like this. As mentioned before, he has actually a block rate, so Nubia might be okay. Ally probably on the softer end, where it's just, you're just trying to make him survive with the block. I don't know if that's will make it for him. Depends on the makeup, right? So if you have an Atlantean, it might be okay. It's power move. Attack random allies. So 3 hits. Remove all buffs from each target. Inflict attack down, debuff on each target. It's on each target, so each target gets attack down, defense down, and on the 3rd hit you get lockdown. But the first level is already pretty crazy. So 3 hits, depending on who's he hitting. If it's 3 different targets, that's 7 debuffs. So again, anyone who's getting more debuffs who utilizes those debuffs pretty. He's immune to crit. These are like really soft counters. They don't really hamper Ocean Master's overall plan. So yeah, I mean, if you have 2 or more Atlanteans, he gets a shield. So the reason why I kind of did this, because like there is this hero that really synergizes kind of well. Her name is Harley Quinn. It says, her passive says, each time an ally inflicts a debuff, 50% chance to fill the ally's power gauge by 10%. That's pretty nuts. I'm gonna put her here because actually she's in the middle. This is only a percent chance. So if you have Ocean Master at 100%, so each turn he gets more and more chances of getting more power gauge for free. The reason why I think she's in the middle is you're removing all debuffs from most of the afflicted allies and apply them on the target. The reverse is all these debuffs that you're putting on my team, you're just reversing them. Plus, if Joker, remove all debuffs from him and apply them on the target. So you're basically, it's like a pseudo small cleanse / DPS. So I think she's like a good ally and good counter at the same time. Dolphin is kind of like, you have Dolphin, but probably more on attack than defense. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of Ocean Master is, he's a disruptor by giving out debuffs and at the same time cleansing buffs. Who can out cleanse the other one? So Ocean Master, I think he's an A. He has a pretty good hit. The abilities that he has are good. I think you need him to be level 2 for him to be offensively useful. Obviously, you want level 5 to get the 100% guarantee of lethargy debuff. Other than his HP, his stats are pretty good. He has a few counters, which is why I think he just belongs in A. Next up, we have Aqualad. Because what's better than having 2 off Aquaman? Another Aquaman. Alright, let's look at his stats. Again, he seems pretty aggressive. Usually most units have 100. He's 110, so he's pretty aggressive. Low defense, low HP, so it's kind of glass cannon. He has crit, but his crit damage is medium. I think most people on average are 130. He has some dodge. So it looks like he's more aggressive than most. He is a warrior type. Aqualad's power move cannot be dodged or blocked. On critical hit, grant allies attack up buff for 2 turns. At the beginning of each turn, Aqualad has a 40% chance to gain critical up buff for 2 turns. So at level 1 you get attack up buff, and then level 2 you get the 10%. We have Aqualad here. To begin with, let's put all the Atlanteans, because so based off the passive, can't be dodged or blocked. But he looks like it's critical hit. I'm putting King Shark and Superman here as they cannot be crit. They're passive. Stops Aqualad from doing what he wants to do. So yeah, I think Lex really strong here. Obviously anyone who wants buffs. Okay, so his power move. Suppress barriers on the target. Inflict vulnerability debuff on target for 2 turns. If the target has lockdown debuff, this attack will always be a critical hit. Attack on a single enemy, 3 hits. Literally is cutting through barriers. Inflicting a debuff. Plus if he is locked down, guaranteed critical hit. Put mirror at the bottom here. We know that Ocean Master has the lockdown. So anyone who can... put Cersei here because it kind of counters, but she also gets eaten up because she does give barriers, which Aqualad... I think something really interesting is on critical hit. In theory, if all 3 of these hit, does that mean that he gets the attack buff 3 times? If that's the case, I think it's like with Lex, it's pretty broken. And something to consider is each turn he can get a chance of getting a critical up buff, but that's on himself. I think Amanda Waller, good addition, but he'll be overriding their own buffs, so I'm not too sure. There's a few other counters, I would say. Aquaman, because if he blocks the buff of Aqualad, then yeah, none of that matters. Livewire can up the buffs too. So on paper, I would say he's S, only because he buffs himself with crit, and then when he crits, buffs everybody. So in theory, I think he's an S, because if he's critting all the time, he's giving everybody buff. There's only certain people that would stop that, and then like he can hit in the red team, obviously fits in the Atlantean team, fit on the Waller team / Lex. Pretty flexible offensively. I'm not sure on defense, but I'm gonna say S of his passive can buff himself with crit as well. Alright, we got our first 4-star, Dolphin, a character I've never heard of, but with the power of the internet, is a love interest for Aqualad. Not the Aqualad I just talked about. This Aqualad, the Tempest. And because I'm confused, I'm going to move on. So her stats are pretty weak in terms of attack. It seems like most Atlanteans have not as great HP defense. Her speed to fill the power gauge is 7, which is not bad. But everything else appears to be kind of normal. Kind of a normie. Her passive. At the start of battle, Dolphin gains a barrier on herself equal to 15% of her max HP, fills the power gauge of all Atlantean allies by 30%. Yeah, her passive is really just helping Atlanteans, so power move. Attack all enemies, 1 hit, damage multiplier at 66%, inflict accuracy down debuff on all targets for 2 turns. There is a 20% chance to inflict lockdown debuff on each target for 1 turn. So really, it's like she's helping Aqualad. I think accuracy down, like there's only a few, like Poison Ivy, that can do. Causing people to miss a big thing, but in general, it's just middle of the road. Anyone who likes debuffs, again with Lex, it's his passive is if you're giving him or his faction debuffs, he gets a certain percentage. I mean, you might be giving him accuracy down, but you're also for bar. Yeah, and anyone who can cleanse, standard cleanser. But yeah, I also think lockdown is a really weak buff. It's only for 1 turn. As mentioned before, I think Harley Quinn would be pretty decent ally. But the Atlanteans that give debuffs can extend the lockdown, has a chance to anyways. And anything that can cleanse. Artemis, Supergirl, Nightwing. Overall, just seems really niche. One job is to help Atlanteans. Her AoE isn't that special. And just giving lockdown for Aqualad, I think it's good enough. Up next we have Black Manta, another 4-star, the only character here that is not from Under the Sea. Also hates Aquaman. For a 4-star, he has crit. And he has 200% crit damage, which, as we know, is pretty crazy. I don't know. For a 4-star, maybe it's good. It is passive. Black Manta's power move can target enemies with stealth debuff. Alright. Each time Black Manta receives a buff, he has a 50% chance to extend the buff by 1 turn. At level 5, he has a 100% chance to extend the buff by 5 turns, 5 extra turns. Wow, what do you know? A supervillain that only cares about himself. Alright, super. Attack a single enemy. Damage multiplier of 78, I guess. Inflict defense down debuff on target. Remove stealth buff from target. If stealth buff was removed by this ability, inflict anti-buff debuff on that enemy for 5 turns. So he's kind of good against, like, a few who have stealth currently. So his whole point is to get people from stealth, and I guess to inflict defense down. Not many characters have the stealth buff. Joker, Justice League, Batman, Huntress. Yeah, just based on his 200% crit, the only thing that would help him, really would help him out is Waller. I guess anyone who gives him a gives him a buff would be great. Flash would be to extend the buff. So for someone who doesn't like Aquaman, it feels like Aquaman counters him pretty well. Dispel has the anti-debuff. I guess he can bat against himself too. Good guy. Yeah, again, people who want the debuffs that make them stronger, which is Cersei and stuff, to add them here because it doesn't just shooting things with his laser eyes. It's helmet. So I would say he's another D. Okay, last but not least, we have Mira, someone that I consider very interesting because her kit isn't the same as Riddler, but really close. But she's a healer type. She has more HP than from the people that we've seen, although she is a 5-star. Weak green attack. Quickly build the power gauge at 8. Is the slower out of the fast. Still good. She has dodge. Or can you ask for it on a healer? Okay, at the beginning of each turn, Mira has 30% chance to grant a random Atlantean, Zebel, or Aquaman ally haste buff for 3 turns and defense up buff for 3 turns. Defense up is at level 2. That helps these guys out. It's only a 30% chance. Power move, attack all enemies. Reduce all enemies' power gauges by 10%. Then generate a barrier on all allies equal to 9% of Mira's max HP. So this is very interesting. As I stated before, this is kind of like a green team, Riddler team. I don't know where the damage would come from, since Riddler does not do any damage. This kind of represents the green team here. She also has like shields, but like, which Master Manhunter sort of pseudo does. I think she pairs well with Ocean Master. I'm gonna give Mira an A because of her uniqueness of reducing enemies' gauges. I know Riddler's super is superior, but it's just like another delaying factor. So maybe she's good on defense. I don't know. No, she gets her super quicker than the Riddler. And I think Ocean Master and Mira go well together. The fact that they have low HP, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how good in practice she actually is. Or no, not sure how well she will perform in certain teams. Okay, so to recap, I don't think any of these particular YouTubers kind of like sets themselves apart. Obviously, I do not have these units. Put Ocean Master at A. I think his kit is interesting. He has a lot of counters, but his kit is the most interesting out of all of them. It's more dynamic and it does a lot more things. Mira has the potential to be like a good addition with Riddler, with delaying. I mean, the whole thing with Ocean Master and Mira is like you just want to delay. The longer the battle goes, the better he is. And then Mira is just like putting up shields and buffing Atlanteans. But kind of with Ocean Master and Mira, you kind of need level 2 at least to make. Aqualad, being all about crits, trying to stay for the damage, his kit is super boring, but maybe he's S because he's just critting all the time, and in doing so he's just super strong. So I'm not sure. He could be the best damage dealer out there. And then the last 2 4-stars is just DI. It's not interesting. Not interested. Not interesting. One of them just powers the Atlanteans, kind of like Mira, but like way worse. And then Black Manta is just like, he can shoot people in stealth, and that's it. Well, to wrap things up, it appears that most Atlanteans have low HP, and they kind of make it up for having barriers if there's 2 or more of them. I did try to roll on Ocean Master and Mira, but to fail. I got new characters, but get anyone interesting. So then maybe Riddler, which I think get nerfed. But thank you for watching, and may it be the best day on this day to you.